out. Tweet. Who am I talking about? Share link. I'll just be a second.
Am I the only one hearing like a buzz?
I can too.
That's my fan, the fan for my computer.
Ah, okay.
Oh, really?
Is there something you suggest? I mean, I opened the doors, so it should cool down, but it has to do with the light too. The light of my.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's okay.
When we do Squadcast, you never hear it.
Yeah, I think Squad has some sort of system to get rid of background noise. Right. Okay. Well, we're live on YouTube, so shall I just start with the intros?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This show is brought to you by The Makery, the podcast network for makers.
Welcome to Knife Talk. This is a podcast for knife makers, knife enthusiasts, and everybody else. My name is Jeff Fader from Fader Knives. I'm here with down there. I'm there with Mareko Momasi Fire Arts, and the captain of the ship, Craig Lockwood of Chop Knives. We're a weekly podcast, and now we are taking phone calls. You can watch us live on YouTube on usually Friday afternoons, posted on Mondays. Guys, how was your week?
Not too good for me. Mareko, you start. How was your week?
Wasn't for me either. It started. I got a and my lack of exercise or just general activity more either standing around in the shop most days. And so I was like, I gotta do something. I just do some very basic body weight exercises, squats or lunges, and then my back started killing me again on Sunday. To right again, do some cleaning up in my shop and starting to get things straightened back out there. I've been taking it really easy. I really like I used to be athletic and now I'm incredibly sedentary, and so I gotta wrap it around the idea of taking things slow and just trail on the property where my shop's at. I need to take advantage of that and just start doing that, and then maybe ease into doing some like weight exercises like push-ups, pull-up lunges, and grinding
Some
plunges.
plunges.
Yeah. So yesterday I actually did some forging for the first weeks. Towards creating the pattern, the material start over on my sword. So my week's been
Cool.
Craig,
cool.
you're like too good for you.
Well, it's interesting what you're saying about exercise and all that kind of thing. We talked briefly about this last week. I've just been feeling terrible for weeks and weeks now, and I think it's down to that as well, not getting out and moving enough. And I made the mistake after Jeff was bragging about having a body like a 15-year-old last week. I made the mistake of jumping on the scales and like Jesus, lockdown weight has hit Lockwood pretty heavily. So yeah, so I've started moving a bit more, I suppose, and just watching what I eat, that kind of thing. And I'm just hoping that it's gonna perk me up a little bit. Perk me up. I haven't had much time in the shop at all this week. Between the two houses, we got a lot of builders and electricians, plumbers, and that's become almost like a full-time job this week. It's been really hard just getting people to do their job and dealing with everybody else's insecurities, that kind of thing, and it's just like, oh Jesus. So I've been HR department for the building team this week, and it hasn't been fun. I mentioned last week we're heading back to the UK next weekend. So I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to get finished before I go. So there's 2 restaurant orders which are nearly finished. So I've just got everything lined up on my bench. I've got the full weekend to hit it over the 2 days. Griffith's Handmade has just made a comment. Craig's going to be wearing shirts with pockets. I think I've got a shirt with a pocket on at the moment. We made the joke a few weeks ago about having pockets on shirts is not right. But I have got pockets. It's good to see people in our chat. So we've got Jamie Blow, we've got Rainy Day Forge, Aaron McVeigh, Ben the Man. We've got a bunch of people in our chat already. So if this is the first time joining us live, thank you. What else did I do this week? I launched another podcast today, which people will say, why are you doing that? Because you only just finished working on another podcast. But this is one that I've been working on for months and months. It's not going to be episodic, so it's not a case of putting one out each week. It'll be as and when I get a new episode. So it's sort of an in-depth into my favorite music. So I'll take a favorite album and I then speak to the people who helped make that album. And it's exclusively on Spotify, because what that means then is that I can actually play the music from the album as well, like within the show. So it works really well. So that went out today. So yeah, that's been my week really. Not much knife news for me, I'm afraid. Jeff, your week, how's it gone?
I listened to your podcast and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Thank you.
And it was so well done, and it was great. I mean, I'm not a huge Oasis fan, but I really appreciated how you dove into the Oasis album with the what was the name of the guy? What did he do?
Nick Bryan. So he was the engineer on the album. So basically, he was in the room throughout the whole thing. He's setting up mics and all that kind of thing, and making sure that the amps are all plugged in and all, that kind of thing. The technical stuff of the recording.
He could have set up his own mic on your podcast.
I know. Well, I know. He's got 2 studios. So he's got this big residential studio called Rockfield, which it's like where Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody in that room, and
right.
It's a really iconic studio. But he also owns one in Spain, and he's stuck in Spain because he can't get out of Spain, and he's been there for like a year now. So he didn't have any of his gear with him. So yeah, it was a strange one, but I really enjoyed doing it. It was cool.
It was, the transitions were really good. It was really great to see you go through the album itself and talk in between songs and play the whole song. It was really, really great. All of a sudden I thought, I wonder who he's going to do next. I'm looking forward to the next one. So what's the name of the podcast?
It's called Album Sleeve Notes, which I
Definitely
learned today is Americans call it liner notes, but over here we call them sleeve notes, which are, those little bits you used to get on albums and CDs when you were a kid, and, you'd say, who played bass on track 10 and all those little things. Kind of stuff I used to get really geeky about that we don't really get now because we use Spotify or Apple Music. We get this little tiny image.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea for the show. But thanks for listening. It was fun.
Whilst
we're circle jerking and talking about each other's podcasts,
I'm looking forward to circle
yours
I'm looking forward to circle jerking.
I listened to yours today with Josh, and Josh sorted his shit out. That was good audio.
It was good. Josh was good. Josh was real good. It was
Nice.
It got real it was interesting. It was interesting hearing about his life and stuff like that, and the fact that his dad was a professor at RISD, which is like, I mean, I don't think people realize that has a giant influence on his life. I mean, imagine being your parents being the professor of the industry standard art school. It's like, how can that not rub off on you? So it was really kind of neat, and it was really good, dude.
Yeah.
But
I
I know
was-
that you. I don't mean to. I don't mean to. I feel sorry for. I'm sorry. I feel not. I don't feel sorry for you both, but I feel sorry for you both because my health is fucking good. You both make fun of my age. You both make fun of my age.
You
But-
got that tiger blood running through you.
Oh, I got the blood results back. I'm fighting. I'm fighting my own genetics. On my father's side, it's high cholesterol. My cholesterol is perfect. On my mother's side, it's all diabetic. I'm not even pre-diabetic. My sugar's perfect. Everything is good except for one of my liver enzymes is a little high, so I'm like drinking some dandelion tea, and I'm gonna go back in October. I lost a pile of weight. I'm fucking feeling good. My doctor was real. I got a real good message that like he doesn't usually get people coming in after 10 years, and especially I hadn't seen him. I haven't done this blood testing in about 10 years, and he's like, I don't usually see people get better. So without
You're
like, coming in, so-
mutating. You're like a fucking ninja turtle.
I hate to tell you this. But I'm staying away from all the bullshit. I treated it. I had it. I planned it. It was 2 months ago, and then I said, okay, this is my goal, and I was very disciplined and prepared going into my checkup, and it paid off. And I'll tell you one thing is that is the key. That's the key and it makes you feel like you have control over your life. And I'm not going to be woo woo and stuff like that, but I was like, I was very pleased that I used to make jokes really. My dad died of cancer, and so I used to think, well, I'm just going to end up getting it. Now I'm completely like, fuck that. If I can fight off the other shit in my family, I'm going to fight this off too. So we're going to keep going. I'm really, I'm pleased with my blood results, and my wife was really pleased too. And
Cool.
yeah, the old man is in good shape, guys. I hate to break the news to you. I hate to break the news to you.
You've been knocking them out this week. I saw those pictures of the amount of knives that you've had lined up. Jesus.
I have 31 and here's the funny thing. So today it's Friday, and Tony came down today, and I just went berserk, and I got 31 knives. All they need are the sheaths and the Kydex sheaths and the edges, and they're all ready to go out. I'm really keeping. Listen, Bentham 5. I've never said I'm a vegan, and I will not be a vegan. But if you're in the chat, just this for some reason, people seem to think I'm a vegan. I'm not a vegan. I'm just not eating a lot of cheese. I'm not eating a lot of meat. That's about it. All right, back to it. So I got all this shit done. These knives look great, and I'm cutting away the old orders, and it's really we see the light. And I'm like, Tony, I got to take some pictures and then post them. He's like, you are not posting anything. Do not post anything because that's what gets us into trouble. So I'm on a no posting. I got to take pictures of them all, but I can't post any of them until we're all done. And then we're going to start to implement this new move where we're going to be making a pile and then selling them as we make them. And then he came in here, we had a little lunch, and he was just like, I feel the we're going to get there. So I have about another 20 knives to start and finish. And then we're going to be doing our style, and then we're going to be doing it like making them and then putting them out and then selling them, which will be great. And then I started a new variation on watercolor drawings, and we're going to be selling them online. So I'm going to be doing some we're going to be selling them online. So it's going to be great. So we're going to have, I figured out a different way to do drawings that makes it easy to ship and easy to make and easy to send. So we're going to put those online. And then Tony and I started revisiting the book.
Nice.
And just to let you know, I can't, I'd be remiss to not say this. In the chat room is on the new episode, the new issue of Blade magazine, Neil Camimura. Congratulations, Neil Camimura, making the cover of Blade magazine with a John Ariani hammer, Sunset Forge NJ. And I posted about it, and he said, "Well, this isn't the first time I've been on a magazine." And he actually, when I was on the cover of a magazine, Hudson Valley, I had one of his hammers too. So congratulations to John Ariani. His hammers have graced the cover of a number of magazines.
You know, we were talking about your podcast there, and what I really liked about this episode was you listed some of Josh's work, because I'm not on Instagram that much anymore, so it was good for me to just go and have a look at it. And I wanted to bring one up because it's just incredible. So I've got it here, so those in the chat room can see it.
Yes.
It's that sort of, I think it's Space and Time or something like that he called it.
It was You Are Here.
You Are Here, and it's just
You
got
Are
these
Here.
planets, and it's just got the layers that all sort of sweep in. It's a beautiful piece, that, and it really is.
When what we tried to do, and it wasn't really planned out, it just happened to be. I took 3 of his knives that had similarities, but it was more about how he goes about it and how his knife making is totally different from mine or from yours, where he has these concepts and then he's basically doing a visual story. So like it's hard to make that transition with knife making and sculpture, and he's been able to do it. So we were able to kind of talk about his work from a conceptual standpoint, which is different than what you normally see from knife making. And it became fun because he and I speak that art critique language, and it was really kind of neat to kind of explore where he got the ideas and came from it. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Even when you're saying art critique, you started stroking your chin, even as you said it.
No, I didn't.
You're doing it now.
Wow. I mean, I'm holding my neck up above the camera. See?
Got you. Oh, okay.
No, it was great. And
Okay.
yeah, he's a great dude. And next week is the 1-year anniversary of the Full Blast podcast. And I will have, fingers crossed, we'll have not the entire, we'll have the Modern Forge team. So Jesse, Cliff, and John will be on the Full Blast podcast. Won't be fun.
Episode 52. Congratulations. 1 a week for a whole year. That's amazing.
No breaks. No
breaks.
breaks. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's have a little word from one of our sponsors.
Knife Talk is sponsored by Even Heat, the manufacturers of the finest heat treat ovens available. To find your next oven, go to evenheat-kiln.com.
evenheat-kiln.com. And remember, we can get you a discount too with Salt Ceramics, who are a distributor of Even Heats. We can get you $75 off and free shipping in the US. And you can spec out the machine exactly how you want it, whether it's a 110 or a 220, whether you want the bigger cabinet or not, by going to knifetalk.net/heat. That'll take you to Soul Ceramics, and it'll automatically apply those discounts for you as well. So make sure you're getting yourself an Even Heat, and make sure you get it from Soul Ceramics, because we can get you the best deals. Okay, do we have any?
Hey, man, can I ask you a question?
Mareko, would you like to take the first?
Yeah, this is the time of the show where we answer your questions. Let's see. The first question here is from Alex Loney.
Alex
Says, "I got a
Steele asking us how to forge stuff. Oh, I get this all the time from him. He's
fucking kid. It says, I got a question. I recently started working as a full-time knife maker, and I'm wondering how you think the market for custom knives will change in the future. It seems to me there's a bit of a custom knife trend right now, and I fear I might see a serious drop in orders in the next decade." So kind of projecting out, seeing where like the industry is going to be going. What do you guys think?
Jeff, do you want to go first?
I think that if you do standard things that look like other people's standard things, and you don't create a story, and you don't make it personalized, you're going to be washed away. And I think that it's very important it's good to think about this. I have never once thought, the only time I ever think about somebody competing with me was if they directly rip me off. But then I don't worry about it. You know, I think that it's important to figure out a way to have people come to you, not just like if you're like, you know, I make the joke, it's like being in like a convention, a hamburger convention, and you're trying to sell your burger next to another burger guy. You have to figure out why people are going to come to you directly. You know, you're not talking about bidding wars. You're not talking about like, you know, we got to like, I mean, you know, the restaurants who reach out to Craig or reach out to everybody else who makes steak knives, they are competing against each other because these restaurants don't care. But if you're talking about a single knife person who I want a Neil Camimura knife, or I want a Mareko Momasi knife, you're not going to have to worry about that as long as you stay relevant. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. To add to that, Seth Godin, God, I can't remember which book it is. But he's got a lot of really great marketing books. And one of the things that I really took away from what he writes about is that when people are buying things, part of it, obviously part of it is the quality of the product, the actual product, physical product itself. What does it look like? How does it perform? Blah, blah, blah. But like Jeff was just saying, it's about also the person. And when people are buying things, they're buying things that they see as a reflection of themselves. So if you tell your story around your product, your philosophy around your design and your process, people will connect with that. Giving people something to connect to also will help keep you kind of more relevant instead of just being somebody who pumps out product. All they're seeing is when all they have to compare basically is price, the cheapest price is usually going to win. But if you have more to offer, like a philosophy and all that kind of stuff, along with that, a narrative, a story about who you are, where you come from, why you do this, that is going to get people to say, take the price and look at it a second time and be like, do I actually relate more to that person? Is that more of a reflection of who I am? And they're probably likely going to go with you if it matches up with them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually. That whole, we've now all got these, we've got our own platforms, everybody has, where they can tell their story. And, whether it's a story of an individual knife, like Josh was doing with those special knives that he has, or, as yourself as a maker, everybody has this platform now, which, we can compete with much, much bigger brands without the cost of this sort of marketing. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I also think with regards to the styles of knives and how the market will change, I think sort of manufacturing techniques and equipment is coming down in cost and becoming more available to everybody. So I think within a couple of years, I'd like to think that I'll have a laser here which would cut up my blanks for me. And I can do one-off designs very quickly and run off 10. Just quickly press the button, get them done. And I think that's going to become a lot more commonplace. A lot of us already have, water jet or laser cut, blanks made to speed things up. But I think a lot of us will have more tools like that in our own shop. So we can become small sort of manufacturing facilities. That doesn't mean that the quality needs to suffer, but it does mean that we can maybe iterate quicker and that kind of thing. So I think maybe we'll see more of that sort of thing in the future.
Sure.
That kind of thing excites me because that's the kind of stuff that I'm really into. There's always going to be a place for traditional forging, and that's great. But from my side of things, I can see things changing maybe that way.
If you look at traditional jobs, they're all starting to change. Like I remember back when I was a kid, having it. Taxi cab companies had medallions on their cabs. The medallions were an investment. Like to be able to have a taxi cab medallion, it was $100,000 or something like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was, you couldn't be, and then when all of a sudden Uber came in, they took away all this business, and it's the same thing with Instagram. If you think about it, all these marketing companies are gone, and you look at you even look at how people are day trading. It's your people are starting to stay away from like Morgan Stanley and all these places, and all these traditional businesses are being taken away. What is the stuff that stays? It's the stuff that's a value, and it's a person. It's something that can't be replaced. Like a service can be replaced, but like something that you're making that's unique can't really be replaced. So if you were to think about it that way, instead of worrying about like, I don't get hung up on like, I talk to some people about the knife market and stuff like that, but I don't get too hung up on that because like I still see this from a different standpoint in terms of like, I try to see it more like creating, an object that's unique to yourself. If you want to call it sculpture, we'll call it sculpture. You want to call it art, we'll call it art. It doesn't, whatever it does means to keep it, of value. And I think that it, we'll see. I mean, the internet's fucking new, dude, and everything's kind of falling apart, so it's like, who knows, maybe people will have their food chewed for them pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that most of our business is coming from, a shitty little app, which, Instagram, like we talked about last week. Most people, that's their entire marketing strategy, and it really is for me, and to be honest, it probably is for most people. Who would have thought that would have been the case, 15 years ago? So, as to what's around the corner, I don't know. I mean, if you take Morocco being on, the Joe Rogan podcast, I'm sure that was a huge spike for him, but that wouldn't have happened, maybe 15 years ago because those things didn't exist. I just think you need to be able to sort of roll with the punches and pick up what's new, quickly decide what works for you and what doesn't, and, and commit.
Right.
That's a good
Well,
question.
and something else, I feel like a lot of people, especially, I don't know, some of the makers I talk to, they worry that the bottom's going to drop out, basically, of the number of people interested in buying custom made knives. But I think that maybe makes sense, like even like 10 or 15 years ago, like Craig was saying, before Instagram or any of these other apps, you really had to rely on a very small market, or like a collection of, or group of collectors, high-end collectors. And you had to go to the shows to be seen, or be in Blade magazine. And now you have the opportunity to do that through social media all on your own. And honestly, like, with me being on Joe Rogan's podcast, Forged in Fire, all these other different things, they're the, I guess, cultural conscience, basically, is becoming more aware, and every day thousands of people are discovering that custom handmade knives are a thing. I think it's just going to keep growing. And honestly, there's millions of people in the world who would love to buy or own a custom handmade knife. I don't think, at least in the United States, I would be amazed if more than 100,000 custom handmade knives were being made in a year. That's not going to satiate that demand in any short-term period at all. And a lot of those people are repeat customers. They come back, they buy one from Jeff, then they buy one from Craig, and they buy one from Doghouse Fort. They buy one from, they buy multiple knives too at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a giant pool out there. And so I think the biggest thing.
Don't tell the listeners. Tell them it's all dried up.
It's all
keep them nervous. Keep them nervous.
Keep them nervous. Who, the other makers or the potential collectors?
Keep the listeners nervous. Keep the listeners nervous. Have them go into plumbing. Have them go into something else. And stay away from hammer making too, everybody.
I'm looking at the chat here, and it's great to see that people are asking questions, and people in the chat are answering those questions. So it's like this whole forum going on at the moment with everybody helping each other, which is amazing. So, if you want more of that, there is a Discord server as well, for Knife Talk, where a lot of this happens. People have questions, and the others will answer. People can sell their knives, all that kind of stuff. So so if you're into Discord, go take a look. Jeff, do you want to take the next question?
This next one comes from one of our coworkers. It's Holly Loftus. Loftus. She gets mad at me because I say Loftus. It's Loftus. She got real mad at me. It's Loftus. Holly Loftus says, I need something really long, hot, and slow. I forged 2 knives recently, too hot for too long. And they got crusty with decarb and scale buildup, getting mashed up in between into the blade. But I love the ease of forging super hot and taking my time. I want to know if there's a mono steel I can use for forged blades where I can take my time a bit more than the usual Sanmai or Damascus I work with, which would give me the ease of being able to forge sizzling hot, but not end up with a crusty baguette style knife. So she's looking for a steel that can she likes to hit it hot, and she doesn't want to, it's cooling down, so you want to burn it up.
Morocco, that's all you.
Oh, is that for me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason a lot of makers like to, especially forgers, like to start with carbon steel, people in the chat are already saying some suggestions, but they like to start with blade steel that has a higher carbon content, because they are anticipating some of that carbon loss through the forging process. And so if you start with a higher carbon content, even with like a W1 or 1095, 52100, 80 CRV2, like some of the people are saying, you know, you're going to end up, your final product is going to have plenty of carbon as long as it has, honestly, more than 0.6% by weight carbon in the steel afterwards. And it would take a long time. It would take a long time to cook your steel down to that. Then you're going to be good. You're going to get solid hardness in the steel and all that goodness. So but yeah, 80 CRV2, Crew Forge V is another one, but it's kind of a bitch to forge by hand. 1095, W2, W1. I think those are all really good steels, 5200 that have high carbon content. So by the time you're done, you still got plenty of carbon in the blade and a decent product to still put out there.
Cool. Anything to add to that, Jeff?
I think you should take a blacksmithing class. I think you should go down to Alex Pohl and take a blacksmithing class. I think that you're gonna. I just don't necessarily think you need to get it so hot that it's like, you know. I don't necessarily think that that's always the case. I think you need to like. I think she's also probably. I'm making the assumption that she's making more than one knife at a time. So then the last one's getting crusty. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Like multiple blades in the forge.
I mean, if you're production forging, wouldn't you do that? You wouldn't make one blade at a time. And that puts you in the back. Because anytime I do forging, I never do one at a time. And I know that
Sure.
feeling. I know that feeling. Is it sitting in there too long? And
Yeah.
I would think either there must be a better way than keeping it in a forge, because if you're working on 3 different knives at the same time, and then by the time, especially for the rebound heat, what are you talking? 2 minutes? Not even 2 minutes before you get to a forging heat again. I think this is the biggest problem with production blacksmithing, is that time management, because you really do not have a lot of time before you go over the overboard. And I think that's more of an issue than being hot, is being able to manage your time and the time of how much you have in the forge.
Yeah, I think, well, and maybe it's actually she likes to work hot, and my guess would be because she wants a lot of time outside of the forge to get work done. But maybe it's actually going the other way and bringing that temperature of the forge down a little bit, so that as she cycles from one knife to the next, by the time she gets to the third one, it's not sitting there having been cooked to hell and back, you know? Maybe it's had that, it's had whatever, 5 minutes to sit there and soak and come up to a decent forging temperature, but it's not so hot that it's cooking the shit out of the blade. And so she can just keep working that, if that's how if she's doing like a production forging cycle like that.
Or couldn't you also like put like a baffle in there? Like if you put like a steel pipe in the forge, wouldn't that kind of calm down the extreme heat of being? I know that when I did that with if you put like a thick wall pipe in the forge, and then you
I
had
think
your
that'll
knives.
give you like an even heat, but it won't, if you pardon the pun, but it won't sort of reduce the heat. It'll still, over time, it'll still heat up to that same amount.
It'll slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe turn the forge down a little bit too.
Ben the man in the chat is saying alternatively forge thick and grind thin. The problem with that is that Holly does a lot. What really makes her, I think, what makes her work stand apart is that she does a really great job forging to like really close to final dimensions. So she has a really nice brute to forge aesthetic on her work, and so you can't really get away with forging thick and grinding thin at that point. You got it. And so that's probably what's happening, is she's getting down to those final dimensions really close. She wants to be really clean. She's working out any kind of wonkiness maybe that just naturally happens in the forging process, straightening out the blade. But all of that takes time, and that's time in the forge. And
her work is very small, so it's going to heat up much faster.
Right.
What if you had your even heat kiln set to 1300, 1400, 1300, and then
it's just sitting there hovering at like a subcritical temperature?
Why not? And then as you're working, as you're working, you have it at 1300. You got 5 of them in the oven. And then as you're working, you just take one out at a time and then put it back in the forge. And it's just hovering at a heat that you can work on that one piece for a longer period of time. And then everything's still working the same. And then you can kind of siphon them in and out. Holly,
I'd be worried about the electrical bill.
she don't worry about the electrical. She got so much money, it's like coming out of her ears. Don't worry about her. Don't worry about Holly. She's all right.
Yeah. Ben the man, you need to go follow Loftus Knives. That's Holly.
Yeah.
And she does incredible work. So yeah, go take a look.
And she's our fill-in.
She's our fill-in for the
host.
show. Yes. She's the Ellen of the show.
Not Ellen. Ellen just got canned.
I did
so-
actually. I did just see
Not
that.
Ellen.
Yeah.
She
As I
ain't
said
Ellen.
that, I thought, what the hell am I talking
Yeah,
about?
why did you say that? She just,
Ellen just got
You're right.
canned.
You're right.
yeah, they're
But-
done with her. They had it with her nonsense. She's
Oh boy.
Ellen DeGeneres. God bless her. But it's like you can't tell people that you're a nice, wonderful, sweet woman and then treat the people in your show like shit and expect people not to say anything. You can't do it. And now they've had it with her and they're giving her the old heave ho. Or she doesn't want to do it, or who knows what the fuck.
Yeah. Trying to bow out gracefully.
Grateful Knives wants to know when she's coming on the show again. I have asked Holly to come on the Full Blast podcast.
Oh, stop
I'll-
pimping that show, will you? Jesus.
Well, she can come on this podcast or that podcast whenever she wants. She'll at some point, maybe she will, maybe she won't. I promise I wouldn't keep asking her, so I won't ask her.
Cool.
Maybe that's
You
the
did
answer.
mention doing a class with Alex Paul. Well, Alex's bitch has also sent in a question. Steve Moonshine Metalworks.
He said his bitch. He said his bitch.
He
Where's
says,
that coming from?
Steve,
Uh,
oh my God.
Are there any other makers or artist creators out there you would either love to see getting into knife making because you think they'd have an interesting angle on it, or that you think would be hugely successful due to their pre-existing skills and talents? That's a really good question. Other makers that you would like to see maybe make knives? Morocco, anybody you can think of?
Honestly, actually, I've been trying to get my sister to become a knife maker. She does a lot of jewelry work, and she just has a very creative take on putting things together, and all these the jewelry she does is a lot of repurposing like antique hardware and jewelry, and then she incorporates like these resin castings of animal skulls or resin casted insects or all that. It's just, I don't know. I think honestly, like it would be kind of along the lines of what Kay Foy is doing. I really love Kay's stuff too, and I think my sister would fucking kill it. Honestly, I think she'd be great.
You want to get her in the shop for the day?
She's been in the shop, and last time she was here, she forged out a bottle opener with me. She's Deadly Dapper Designs on Instagram. She does some cool stuff. But yeah, I'd love to see her making knives.
Cool. Anybody you can think of, Jeff? You love their work, but they don't make knives, and you'd like to see them make knives.
I think Leah Arapach would have I think that forging knives would be a very easy transition for her because she's very meticulous in her work. She just spent a week down at the Center for Metal Arts. She loves blacksmithing. I think that she would be I think she would have something very interesting to say. Definitely Leah Arapach. And you know what? Another thing is that I'd like a guy like my old teacher, Fred Christ. Fred Christ was a traditional blacksmith. He was the lead guy for the Samuel Yellen shop. And he has also, besides traditional Samuel Yellen style forging, he does contemporary art, contemporary sculpture. I would love to see something that he would do because, you know, he straddles the line too between classic blacksmith and modern artist. So it's, you know, I think that those two would be my choices.
Cool. I mean, I don't have a background in blacksmithing or, you know, that kind of stuff. So I haven't really got anybody, unfortunately, that I'd like to see. I think we've got enough knife makers out there. I think we talked about this just a bit earlier. Nobody else make knives. That's fine. We're good.
What
We've got
about
enough.
Liam Gallagher?
Can you imagine? Have that, you bastard. Yeah. No, I don't think so. We forgot to mention that if anybody has questions for us, we're reading these out from Instagram. So these have been DM'd to us throughout the week. So if you've got a question,
Contact us via DM at Knife Talk Podcast on Instagram. It's that easy.
it's that easy. Mareka, would you like to read the next one?
Yeah, I just was looking at that. All right. Tyler Adric Knives. He
I think it's
says, no
Aldrich.
advice here.
I think it's Aldrich.
Aldrich?
I think I made a mistake. Yeah, I think it's Aldrich.
Okay. I have no advice here. I'm seeing the super special secret Marco. I'm seeking the super special secret Marco has to hand sanding the S grind. Every time I've done it, I struggle to get the lower grit scratches out at the transition between the convex and the concave. It always washes out, and I lose the crisp definition between the two. Kisses, Tyler. All right. So first off, Tyler, I don't worry. I never keep that line crisp, honestly, personally myself. Somebody who's really great at it is Salem Straub, actually, is awesome at keeping that line nice and crisp. Andreas Kalani actually just did his first S grind. He did a really phenomenal job on his. But so when I do my S grinding, for people who are watching the video, and if you want to see this, you can go on YouTube and check out the video. But
Mareko's
I
just
have
pulled
my
out a
hand sanding
massive
stick.
sex toy. I don't know what he does with
Yeah.
that, but
It's swollen at one end.
All right,
Actually, it's
all
at
right.
both ends.
We're gonna get more criticism.
Okay, so it's curved. As you can see, it's not perfectly flat. So the curve is designed to get into that hollow. And if I wanted to keep the lines really crisp, I would still use this. This is actually slightly tighter of a curve than the actual hollow. That way I can make sure that I'm getting all the different parts really nicely. And so I would just use a curved hand sanding stick for the hollow, and then either a flat hand sanding stick or I don't know, a spongy or soft one for the convex area. But I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't worry about that crisp line.
I
I don't like it actually crisp.
Could
Yeah.
you, if you were trying to get that crisp line, would
Yeah.
you sand the S grind and then go on the outside of it and to get that crisp line? Like go the spine, the face, and the blade that's not part of the S grind. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
All right,
No,
so
I'm
you're
not. I
sanding
don't
the
know.
S grind itself. You're
Sorry.
in the ditch.
Yes.
We're gonna call
Okay.
it the ditch. We're in the ditch,
You're in,
and you
you're
finish.
in the
You
group.
finish
You're
the
right.
ditch,
Yeah.
and then you go on the outside to get
Mhm.
that crisp edge. Could you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and
There you go.
honestly, Nick Wheeler, who we haven't mentioned on the show for a really long time, but he has a really great hand sanding video where he shows how he hand sands the clip or the swage along the top of his knife, his Bowie knives, and how he kind of manages that transition between the two. And honestly, I think you would approach that transition between the convex down into the hollow the exact same way. And what Jeff was saying actually would be perfect, is that you just kind of, I would start by getting the hollow all cleaned out first and then focus on the convex.
cool. And if you're doing a lot of hand sanding, Jeff, what sandpaper would you use for that hand sanding?
Are you crazy? Indasi USA's Rhino Wet. That's the best stuff. I just went through a pile of it, but it wasn't really a pile of it because I'm getting such value out of each sheet that I'm not using as much sandpaper. And if you go to Texas Ferris Supply, you can get some Rhino Wet from Indasi USA. Get that red line. Get yourself that 220, the 400, the 800. You'll be happy. Use it on the steel. Use it on the handle. Whatever you got. Put in promo code Knife Talk 10. You get 10% off your order. And they got other things like epoxy dye. Everyone's saying, how do you get the color in the epoxy? You'll get yourself some epoxy dye. They have it. They have epoxy. They got other stuff. So Texas Ferris Supply, Knife Talk 10, and get yourself that Rhino Wet from Indasi USA.
Do you often have the Golden Girls ringing you up asking you how you get the color in your epoxy?
Who's the Golden Girl?
That sounded like the old one from the Golden Girls then.
Dude,
Golden Girl.
You have no idea. People slip into my DMs. I don't know what it is about. I think it's younger people. but they don't take for granted the internet. So if you're looking for, there's not that.
You mean like
many.
Google?
Like here's when you're buying knife supply stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
we
a
have a
phone.
call.
Thank
we have
God.
a call.
Getting
Just
cut
a
off.
second. Just a second. Hello, you're on Knife Talk. Who are you? How can we help?
Hello, it's Lorian calling from Vancouver Island again. Greg, how are you?
I'm very good.
Lorian.
Lorian from, is it Lorian Knives?
Yeah, Lorian
Lorian
Design. Yeah.
Design.
Lorian Designs. How can we help you? What's up?
Well, last time we talked, fortunately, it didn't air because I was super confused. Actually, I was listening to you on Jeff's show while listening to the Knife Talk, so I was a little off my game last time I called.
Well,
but since then,
I remember you called, and that was in the missing show, the show that didn't air because we had terrible audio issues.
yeah.
So I think I know what you're going to be talking about, but the audience haven't heard it. So go ahead.
Well, it's good because I've actually done something instead of just come up with a harebrained scheme.
Cool.
I've done a harebrained thing. I started a collaborative and open playlist on Spotify called Knife Talk.
Okay, cool. So people can add the music that they listen to while they're in the shop and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was thinking it would be kind of a cool sort of, not a social experiment, but kind of, see what, knife makers are listening to, and then you can spin off and make your own playlist out of there. And
yeah.
so that's why I was calling.
Bump and Grind, R. Kelly. I think everybody listens to that when they're grinding. That's the only thing you can listen to, surely. Whether or not he's cancelled, I'm not sure. But so what kind of stuff are you listening to in the shop?
It's really eclectic. Actually, it's I like everything. I like classics. I like rap. It's hard to even say like specifically, but it's a pretty wide range. Anyway, I've put in a few songs in that playlist, and
cool.
I plan on putting in a few more. So that'll if you're curious about what I'm listening to, just go there now and
cool.
you'll find a few.
Well, DM us the URL for the playlist. I'll put it in I'll put it in the show notes. And if anybody's listening who's interested in what other people are listening to whilst they're working away, they can go and subscribe to that playlist and they can add their own tracks, all that kind of thing.
Cool.
Thanks very much for calling.
Lorian, wait. Lorian, is it is the cover like a cat, like a kind of a garbage pail kid? Is it like like the president with his head exploding or something? Is that the cover
of the playlist?
Yeah.
I think there's like there's an Iggy Pop. There's a few different album covers. Maybe I'll find a proper Knife Talk cover.
Oh, because there's an artist. There's an artist called Knife Talk.
Really?
What?
It's fucking weird. I was just went on Spotify, and you have to look it up, Craig. You have to look it up. It is like, I'm like, what did Lorian is a weirdo. This is a bizarre. This is so bizarre.
Well, that is true.
No, I don't think this is
That
you.
is
I'm like,
true.
this is. Go ahead, Craig. Go ahead and look it up. But I mean, in regards to Spotify, look up the artist. It's Knife Talk, one word.
Wow.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe that? It's like a garbage pail
band
kid.
called
Remember
Knife
Garbage
Party.
Pail Kids?
Knife Party. I've heard of the Knife Party band. Yes, yeah. And we've just had somebody in the chat actually. Sarfaraz has said he's going to flood it with Taylor Swift. That's not a bad thing. I'm sure myself and Morocco will be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Hey, everything is welcome. I think like whatever you like, you should put in there.
Cool. Well, we will do. DM me the playlist URL. I'll make sure I'll put it in the show notes. And yeah, everybody can add and contribute. That'll be cool.
Cool, I will do. Thank you all for what you do.
Nice. Thank you very much for calling. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye.
Because your new podcast on Spotify, I decided to stay on Spotify, and I listened to the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers album and Let It Bleed. Fucking good one. All I can think of is like, Craig's got to get a hold of Mick Jagger.
I've never been the Stones. I've never. No.
Oh, dude.
Never got
I don't
it.
like the Stones either.
Sticky Fingers. Oh, the both of you. You can keep Taylor
There's like
Swift,
5
both of
songs
you.
I like of theirs.
Get the fuck out of here. You guys have got to listen to Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers is such a great album. God damn you both.
Yeah,
Well,
never.
maybe that's why you both are in such great shape. Don't listen to.
Look at the guns on that.
That's right, baby. Don't forget. Don't forget. You listen to little sticky fingers, and it's good for your blood. That's what I hear.
Okay.
That's funny.
Okay. Whatever.
See, Jeff, you
Let's
you
have-
and Mullins is with me. I'm telling you. I do have hot
Leonard,
takes.
you've got some hot takes. Let me take one more from Leonard Peterman. Hey, man, can I ask you a question? After finishing my knife and letting it sit for a couple of days, the smallest step between the material and the spine of the blade appears, and I have absolutely no idea why this happens. And he said, as a note, I'm already stabilized wood because regular wood would shrink sometimes. What am I doing wrong? It's driving me nuts. So is it? I think it's Leonard Peterman. So it sounds to me as if the stabilizing isn't working, or the wood is probably still shrinking or distorted in some way. Why that gap is later on over time. I would wonder if maybe your epoxy isn't sticking, and then I'd wonder if you're using any sort of mechanical fastener, which I'd suggest doing like a Corby bolt. But the obvious one there really is probably maybe the stabilization isn't working. Have you come across that, Mareko, where a day or two later things are coming undone a bit?
Yeah, like the next day, honestly. And I think some of it just has to do also with just your ambient humidity can cause things to fluctuate pretty dramatically. It's surprising. I've caused handle material to either swell up or shrink back down depending on how I'm treating it just within a couple hours, honestly. And that's always going to be a potential issue with natural materials, even if it's been stabilized. Honestly, it's just part of the nature of natural, especially wood. And the softer the wood, the more likely it is to do that. And there's not much to do about it other than trying to adjust for that, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Either make sure the wood is really dry before you even start grinding it, making sure also that you're grinding with sharp belts. Overheating the material can cause fluctuation, not necessarily in the moment, but over time, especially if the belts are too dull and they're putting a lot of heat into the material. Yeah. So I think it's unfortunately it's just part of the nature of natural, or especially wood materials, natural materials.
I agree. Even stabilized wood, I've had professionally stabilized wood and it moves. I've also had non-stabilized wood, it hasn't moved. It's to the point where I want to just not, as Francesco Mucci just says, just don't use wood. Trust me, I'm trying to get rid of it. I would love to just not use wood at all, because I've had batches of, like I said, professionally stabilized wood that I've got at Blade Show. I've gotten some fruity wood from Blade Show, and it moves. And it moves, so it's like, it's annoying, and I don't want that. So, oh yes, Griffin Handmade Knives is talking about something that I've had. Finding pieces not dyed all the way through more than anything from suppliers, not being done intentionally for sure. I have bought double dyed wood where it's red and yellow, and I've cut through it, and there is no red inside. It's all yellow.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like,
Oh,
you
wow.
can't sell that piece of wood. I sold the piece of wood as a handle, and then when I started cutting through it, it's different. And that's just the way it is. You obviously can't see that stuff, but I'm starting to slowly, kill the doubt and get rid of all the wood.
I mean, stabilizing
love it, though.
depends on where you are in the world as well. So as well as the equipment that you've got, I think the closer you are to the equator, you can pull more power. Or no, it's something to do like sea level. The closer you are to sea level, you can pull more pressure, and the higher you are, the less pressure you can pull. It's something like that. It's something weird. But another thing to consider, how you're storing your wood as well. So if you've just got it in your shop, and it's the change of the seasons, or it's held, you want to make sure it's fully dried. What I've got here, I just got an old I fitted it with a little heater, and I've got a little thermostat in there. So it all year I store my wood in there, and it'll stay at 20 degrees C all the time. And I keep my resins in there as well and epoxies because that's like the ideal temperature for them. So that's something to consider as well if you're just buying in wood and using it immediately. You don't bean that so that it's liable to sort of maybe twist and warp as well. So you want to hold it at a steady temperature for some time to make sure it's stable before using it, and particularly if you're going to stabilize it as well. Yeah, but yeah, I use less and less wood for that reason, and even the best stabilizer sometimes it's still going to happen. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things. Jeffrey, did you say we have some?
How about some hot takes?
Yes, I do have some hot takes, and I actually have some. I tell people, and everyone says, "Don't tell me about hot takes. We know all about it." But a hot take is deliberate, provocative commentary that is based entirely on shallow moralizing. I'm going to give you a couple examples of decent hot takes that I came up with, and if by all means, Craig and Mareko, if you have hot takes, here would be a hot take. If you're against using jigs, you better not have a fence on your table saw. Right?
Quite true.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
You can't. You gotta, and you get the router bit. The router that you're using, you gotta take off that guide. You gotta free ball it. You gotta free ball that.
You've got a platen on your grind. Wow, that's a jig.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. You got platen, work rest. Get rid of it. You gotta hold that shit. And then here's another one. This has been driving me crazy. Making vitamins into gummy bears is the greatest condescending health delivery system of all time, and we should all be embarrassed.
Yeah.
My family and I, because now we're all like vitamin city. My wife and I we have like a vitamin D deficiency or something like that. We're out of the sun because I'm worried about skin cancer. So we got gummy bears, all like gummy vitamin this, and gummy vitamin that. It's like for dessert for me because I'm not eating any added sugar, and I'm thinking, these motherfuckers are so smart. They know we're not going to take care of ourselves, so they're just going to make some shit that gummy bears candy and then put the vitamins in it. If you put the coronavirus vaccine into like a Snickers bar, everyone would be vaccinated.
It's like bacon, the fake bacon. It's like,
but it's like
eat proper bacon if you want bacon. It's
that if somebody was sitting in a boardroom and saying, these people aren't going to take vitamins, let's sell them gummy bears with the vitamins that they love gummy bears. You're right. Let's take advantage of how awful they are. And that's right. We should be embarrassed as humans, but it's like it's a delicious vitamin. Delicious vitamin. All right. So that's a hot take.
Nice.
This one comes from our friend Steve Ovenshine. Love Steve. Steve makes he makes knives for movies. He made a knife for The Rock in one of his movies. Hot take: T-shirts without a pocket are children's pajamas. We're back on the t-shirt train.
Jesus Christ. There is a huge spider here. It is the biggest spider I've ever seen in my life.
Are you scared?
Uh-oh. We're gonna watch Craig lose his shit.
He's just gone behind my screen.
Are you afraid of spiders, Craig?
I'm not scared.
I'd
say I'm not scared of spiders, but this thing was fucking huge.
Oh yeah, big. Hot take: Craig doesn't like spiders.
Right, you two carry on. I need to get rid of this thing. I'm in a little room here. You two carry on just a second.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! Oh, that is embarrassing to the listeners of the podcast. Craig has exited the room because he's afraid of a little fucking spider. Because that thing ain't big. How big could the spiders in France actually be?
Right.
Come on. All right. So let me read. I mean, come on. This is in Australia. What a pussy. That is a pussy thing to do, isn't he? He ain't here to defend himself. That is a pussy shit right there. A spider. Of course, if a spider comes, that would be great right now if there was like this little spider right in front of me. Oh, there he is.
I can still hear you, but I'm just trying to wrestle with this bad boy. Just a second.
Did you hear me call you a pussy? You don't worry, Craig. There's everyone's come to Australia, Craig, you big sook. Okay. This one comes from Stu Lind. Hot take: there is an H in the word aesthetic. God damn it, America.
He's gone.
Did you get it?
I don't know where he went. I can't find him.
Did you get the gun?
It was huge.
Yeah, come on, man. How big can the spiders in France be?
It was about that big, seriously.
Get the fuck
About
out
that
of here.
It's gonna
I'm-
crawl
I'm
up your
not lying
leg
to you.
now at some point.
Penis size.
Oh boy.
It is as big as his wiener. You got a spider the big as a wiener. That's how you know how small it is. You got a small penis, and the spider is just as big. Okay. JD Custom Knives says, here's a hot take. 80 grit is not a respectable finish grit for any knife handle. It's going to look terrible, but will be nice and grippy, and that's not a good marketing strategy. Kenzie Aaron of the Young Maker podcast,
The Young
right?
Makers podcast, yes, yeah.
He says, here's my hot take. Folding steel makes it stronger. I think he was being sarcastic. Buster Cooey says, here's my hot take. TikTok is the mullet of social media.
Agreed. Agreed.
Love the show. Garrett Carper says, hot take. Appetizers should be called de-appetizers. You eat so many of them, you're no longer hungry for the main course.
Nice.
Garrett Carper has no self-control. Noah Custom Knife says, here's a hot take. Jeff's K-tip isn't actually 8 inches.
Oh.
Yeah. Not the joke, not the laughs you were expecting, was it there, Noah? I'm with you. He's me wiener joke, another wiener joke. You can't do 2 wiener jokes back to back. De-Evolution 514 says, here's a hot take. Most EDC knives people possess are actually expensive box cutters. Jerdrum Knives, here's a hot take. Laser engraving on knives will be the next cross-fitted knife making.
Fuck you.
Wow. Spider is not back. Okay. He says, just kidding. Peace and love. Great show. Running Man Forge with the last minute hot take says, wrapping sandpaper around a file to hand sand a blade is not like using a condom. Dangerous. And then the last hot take from Aru Blade Works. Hot take. I'm with you. Is from Brian House. So he was taking shots at me.
You stole that from Brian House, didn't you? That's his catchphrase.
He's got some harebrained notion that I got I'm with you from him. But I mean, that's clearly not correct. But like most knife makers, feel free to steal it from me. I'll figure something else out. I ain't too worried about you. I ain't too worried about Brian's the man. God bless you. You want to use it?
Oh, we've got a
Go
call.
ahead.
We've got a call. Let's see who this is. Just a second.
It's a spider.
Is this the spider? Who's on the line? Who could this be?
Don't hang up on me.
John,
unsubscribe. Don't you unsubscribe for me yet?
one of my favorite people. I'd never hang up on you.
Now this is the cover man.
And the baby.
Man of
Listen.
the cover
Come on,
man
big
of
deal.
Blade Magazine.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
He's got his
Tommy's here.
cute kid with him as well. So don't hang up.
See, you can't be too mean to me, Craig. I'm just calling to say hi. I've got nothing else to say. Tommy's saying hi.
Have you been watching the show on YouTube too?
I've been in and out. I don't have YouTube Red, so it's like every time I close it to text someone back, or whatever, it like logs me out and logs me back in.
Yeah.
So I've been in and out.
Yeah. Cool.
Would you,
Get out of here.
John? Would you say that?
What's up?
Would you say that there are not that many custom hammer makers who get on Blade Magazine?
I might be one of the first. And Edible Hudson
Congratulations.
Valley too. Let's not forget.
Congratulations.
I'm probably the only hammer to ever be on cover of Edible Hudson Valley.
Oh, by all means. Yeah. Edible Hudson Valley, you are definitely the only hammer to be on Edible Hudson.
And there was that edition of Tattler as well, wasn't there? That you were in for a while.
Tackler.
What's
Tackler?
Tattler.
What's that?
I'm trying.
You don't need to know, Jeff. It's fine.
Okay.
So what
I'm trying to remember back a bunch of episodes ago when you were talking about what was it the woman who was on like Perfect 10, but the English version.
Perfect 10.
Page 5.
It was like
Oh,
Page
page
5
3.
now.
Page 3. Yes.
Page 3.
Page 3, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I was trying to recall all that, but really quickly, but it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, the page 3 stunner. That's the
Yeah.
that's a very British thing. But so, John, are you on Jeff's podcast next week then for his anniversary edition?
We're booked. We're booked for it. We got mics. We did a sound test earlier, so Jeff doesn't yell at us again. I got 3 sessions booked just in case we have to re-record several times. As it goes. I wish I could see you, Jeff, to see whether you're laughing or not. But
I'm laughing.
Through gritted teeth. Yeah.
I'm laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
John
Punching the
is
steering
nice
wheel.
enough. John is nice enough that we had to redo an episode when he was on because it was just like something was wrong with the audio or something like that. So,
it was
but
all
yeah,
my
I'm
fault.
psyched. I'm gonna have John, Jesse, and Cliff on next week. So we'll have some fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun too because it'll be an evening recording session, so it'll be a whole new dynamic.
Right. It'll be an evening, so the boys will be drunk. The
Yeah,
boys
it'll
will
be more like
drunk
the new night.
The new
will be the
talk. Gotcha.
Yeah.
The boys will be drunk. I will not be drunk. The boys will be drunk. I'll be drinking dandelion tea to work on my liver.
I'll drink for both of us.
Yeah. Well, Jeff's got the liver
can
of
do
a
it.
14-year-old girl. I think he's very proud of. So, yeah.
Hey, man.
I should liver a 14-year-old girl too. There's a solid black market out here in New Jersey.
And with that, I think we're going to let you go, John.
All right, guys.
Cheers.
Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You're
Bye-bye.
the man. John Ariani, ladies and germs. Blacksmith to the stars. Hammer maker to the stars.
Yeah.
He's on hallowed ground.
We're going to take some unsolicited advice in just a second, but before we do,
Combat Abrasives makes the world's best abrasive belts for knife makers. Available in any size at unbelievable prices. Go take a look at combatabrasives.com and get 15% off with promo code KNIFETALK15. Do it now.
do it now. 15% off. That's a hell of a bargain. So we all use Combat Abrasives because they make the best abrasives. So make sure you get your discount at combatabrasives.com. Use Knife Talk 15. Okay. Do we have any... Fuck. Jeez, I'm going to get him.
Did you kill him?
God. I think there's a family here. Just a sec. I think I'm overrun. Just
Oh,
a second.
please. I hope there's a fucking infestation.
Jeff, you
Look at you.
You
How
give
many
us
are
some
there?
unsolicited advice.
Wait
Just a
a
second.
second. God damn. Blockwood, come on. This is your chance. This is your 9/11 moment. This is your moment to broadcast a real tragedy in your own home, and you gave it up. God damn it, Blockwood. That was a JV move. All right. So if you have unsolicited advice, or there he is. How many you got?
I think he came out. I'm sure he just slapped me around the chops and ran away again. He's huge. He's wearing boxing gloves. I'm telling you. Gone again.
This is your 9/11 moment. This is your moment to kind of tell us what you're going through right now.
Oh.
He says you're having heart palpitations.
Oh, I'm not normally scared of spiders. This thing is huge, and not only is it huge, it keeps running at me. It's aggressive.
No, it's not. What is it, tarantula?
I feel like that Aussie Steve Irwin. You know, it's not good. It's not good. Anyway, sorry, Jeff. I interrupted you there. You go.
Father Time thinks you were just muting to fart. That you were just trying to cover a fart. So if you have any unsolicited advice or tips, or I know you didn't ask, but here's your chance. The comments are pretty good. Benthamman 5 says Craig's huge is 3 inches. That was a good one, Ben. That was a good one. All right, so I know you didn't ask. First one comes from Justin Glover. I know you didn't ask, but if you lose the etch on a Damascus knife spine when finishing sanding your handles, you can dip a Q-tip in ferric chloride and rub it on the spine. It won't give you a deep etch, but it will reveal the pattern again. Make sure to wipe it clean with Windex or something to neutralize the acid when you have the desired look. I want to thank Mareko Momasi because I had a friend of mine had a knife of a Damascus knife, or a customer of mine sent it back because he broke the handle, it dropped on the floor, and I said I'll take care of it. I fixed it, but I had to. When I re-sanded it, the bolster, I all of a sudden had to re-etch the bolster, and I didn't want to re-etch the blade because if you re-etch the bolster, trying to do one at a time is difficult. So I got some nail polish, and I put it all over the blade, and I put it all over the handle, and then I did the ferric chloride, and the resist was so good that if I ever do a full tang knife again and I need to etch it, I will cover the handle with carefully with nail polish, and I will for sure sink it into the ferric chloride.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that thing. That was a while ago.
Well, it's good.
Couple
I mean,
years.
it was
Yeah.
a total resist. You know, it was a total resist.
Right, and that was a wood handle. There was no synthetic on there, right?
It was a wood handle.
Yeah.
Wood handle, no synthetic. And I don't think you saw this one. It was an older knife, and I redid it, and I put it on. Like I said, worked. Oh, we getting a call?
No,
Is
they've
that
gone, sorry.
Is that the spider? All right.
Yeah.
Sheffield Forge. I hope you can isolate that Jesus Christ at some point. The first time the spider came out and you said, Jesus Christ, that would be a good, like, something to have on hand when you want to
I'm surprised it didn't go
express.
up about 5 octaves and jump up.
You when you listen back to it, you were surprised. You were surprised. So Sheffield Forge says, here's some unsolicited advice from Sheffield Forge on Facebook. I disagree with Mareko about changing coffee etch mix. I keep mine, and months later just scoop out the mold. You can use it as a SCOBY, which is not true. Can't do that. And then hot take, kombucha is the future. Kombucha is the past. You just heard about kombucha now, dude. Kombucha is not the future. You just heard about it now. Sheffield Forge, come on, man. What is it? What do you think about coffee etch that's got a little mold on top?
I've tried using coffee etch after it's gotten a little moldy, and sometimes it gets a good result. Other times, more often, it doesn't. And so I just bite the bullet and say fuck it and make a new batch because it's super cheap.
Right.
Like, it's super cheap. And so I just take the time and make a new batch. And I've done this so many times where I keep fighting it and keep trying to get a good contrast etch in the coffee. And then I'm complaining about it, honestly, to my wife. And she's like, did you make a new batch? And I'm like, no. You should make a new batch. And I do that, and it works great. So that's where I've just started. Like, I actually have some coffee right now, and it's full of mold. And I need to dump it out because I'm not going to use that. It's just too cheap to fuss with and waste time on. You know, the coffee is too cheap.
Doubt.
So
Kill the doubt.
Yeah.
And then the last unsolicited advice comes from Celery Patch Knives. Everyone doesn't want to give us advice anymore, I think. So we're not getting a lot of advice.
A little
It's
scared.
fine.
Anybody in the chat, if you've got advice, one tip you'd give to maybe a new knife maker, what would it be? Put it in the chat and we read them out too.
This one comes from Celery Patch Knives. Here's some unsolicited advice. Nate Bonner, who called in on the Damasteel Invitational episode, was a highlight, and I'd be very interested in hearing more of his relatable content. Cheers, Ash. Celery Patch Knives. Nate Bonner was great.
Yeah.
He was the first person we interviewed on the Damasteel show. I'm still getting messages about how great that show was.
Yeah, it was good. If you haven't seen that, that's both on the YouTube channel, and we put the audio out as well as a normal podcast episode. Yeah. Sorry, I'm moving about in my chair a lot here. It's a bit like I'm on a game show. There's like creepy crawlies somewhere. He's gonna
Are there
jump out
more?
at
Are
any
there
point.
Are they still around?
I think there's more than one, but I've never
You
seen
should put a
more
bell
than one
on it
together.
so you can hear it coming.
I think they're tag teaming me, maybe. I'm not quite sure, but a little nervous. That's all I can say. Whilst I try and locate the killer in the room, Jeff, tell me about your grinder.
Holy mackerel! I have a Broadbeck Ironworks 2x72 grinder from Broadbeck Ironworks, broadbeckironworks.com, and I love it. horizontal, vertical. Yeah, it's a really great price, and they have a lot of great attachments, and the attachments are terrific. They make your life easier. And you go to broadbeckironworks.com, put in promo code Knife Talk 10, you get 10% off your stuff. And that's the best part, is the fact that the attachments are all user friendly. If you have, they make it so they're very versatile. What do you think, Mareko, about the Broadbeck?
I love the flexibility of the Broadbeck. I know I've said it before, but I think it's really smart of them to not kind of lock in their customers in ways that other maker or grinder manufacturers have, and that way that I can use the tool arms that I either have from my old grinder that I built myself or that are made by other companies, and I can still I can take those that I already own and have and use it in my Broadbeck grinder. It's smart to be flexible in that way.
Yeah, and it goes the other way too. So I use Broadbeck accessories in my non-Broadbeck grinder as well. So, they make great, attachment arms as well. So I use the surface grinder in a non-Broadbeck grinder too. So yeah, it goes both ways. So whether you're looking for a grinder or whether you're looking for attachment arms, they've got them all. And we can get you the discount too. Jeff, I forget, what was the discount?
Knife Talk 10, broadbeckironworks.com. I'm distracted by the chat. We've gotten a lot of unsolicited advice that I think would be great to read. One comes from Safraz. I don't know I think we might have to correct this one, but he says, I can't read it. Actually, it won't let me look it up, but it's I'm not sure about the chemistry. But if you mixed coffee into vinegar instead of water, it might not get moldy. But then you don't want that acid. I don't think that's acid.
Yeah,
too
extra
aggressive.
acid maybe. Yeah.
And then here's a tip from Rainy Day Forge: put a scented candle in your shop for a nice fresh smell. My shop smells like vanilla and butter rum. Rainy Day Forge has it too good. You have it too good. You're not living. You're living too good of a comfortable life. You don't need your shop to smell like vanilla and butter rum, sir.
And how dare you enjoy yourself in your shop?
This is not playtime. This is work time. And smelling good is for.
Maybe he's a hobbyist, though.
I don't care.
Maybe.
I don't care. I don't care. No metal shop should have the smell of butter rum. It might have the smell of butt, but not butter rum. So forget it. And then Griffith Handmade Knives says new knife makers should save for that Broadbeck Ironworks grinder. I'm with you, Griff. Ben Thulman 5 says Rainy Day Forge. Craig needs for one of those candles for his recording room after shitting his pants. So spider repellent. And then 540 Lyle says unsolicited advice. Look up the TPI table to make that proper cut with the bandsaw.
Yes, and that was something that I didn't mention earlier today, actually. I ordered a new bandsaw this week, which was something I've been waiting for so long. I've been putting it off. I had this old bandsaw handed down to me years ago, and I've been using it, and it's just a piece of shit. So I ordered a new one. So I need like a sticker, basically with TPIs for various materials. That would be cool. So yeah, if anybody knows of a good resource for that, let me know. That'd be cool. Right, I think we're at that time of the show where maybe I need to get out of this room as soon as possible.
You're selling that house. When you sell the house, don't tell them about the spiders.
Mareko, what's the dream for the week? Where would you like to be this time next week?
Oh, the dream of the week would be to have this material all forged out and welded together into a mosaic bar that I can then tile out into my sword and then get that up and going and running again. Because that was a pretty serious bummer to have to start over on that, and I need to get that up and going. So hopefully making good progress, and my back's still not hurting, and my shop may be a little cleaner than it is right now, even though I've done some cleaning.
Did you listen to the Dr. Sarno book yet?
I just started listening to it yesterday or the day before. It's good. It's interesting. I like it.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Craig, what's your
Let's just be quick, okay?
I can't wait for next week. That's it. No, I'm kind of hoping that Spider Cop pops out again. It makes you, Well, after we're done with this, when we're looking at a new house, my wife found a new house. This today has been my phone has been off the hook. So we found this. My wife's seen this house under construction that she likes, and she said, this house. I'll bet this house is going to go up for sale. And she got a email saying it's up for sale. So we've been like hauling ass to get the bank pre-approval and COVID testing to visit the place. So I'm trying to manage expectations and basically say, get ready for us not to get it. And she's, why do you say that? And I'm like, it's like on eBay when you get those snipers at the end, somebody's gonna throw another 10 G's on top of the asking price, and then they're gonna get it. So
what's the deal with the house? Why is this the one?
It's closer to it's just not, it's actually walking distance from our house, but it's just like it's got more of things that we like. So it's really kind of like a lateral move, but like this COVID has been so hard on my wife, and just she needs something good, and I am 100% behind it. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna go check it out, and then I don't know what else the hell we're doing. Probably, this and that and the other thing. Oh, I'm going to send out 30 knives next week. I'm so excited. So it's going to be shipping mania. And then I'm back to it and doing some more watercolors. And this new watercolor style I'm doing, I really like a lot. So hopefully we'll be putting, watercolors up for sale on the website. So you don't have to buy a knife. You can buy just a fresh print. If not a print, original watercolor.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. First of all, I hope I survive the next 5 minutes. I just keep seeing shadows because I got the lights done there. Because it feels massive because I see the shadow when it moves in front of the light. It's huge. We're traveling back to Wales next Sunday, so I'll be doing next week's show from here. But then the future ones for the next 5 weeks after that will be from Wales. So I got a lot to do before then. So yeah, a bunch of orders I've got laid out now already on my worktop. Starting for this weekend, I've got all day tomorrow, all day Sunday, where I can be in the shop, and hopefully a few days next week as well, just to get these last things out. There's a few that I want to take back to the UK with me to post from there, and there's a few restaurant orders that I'll be taking to restaurants in the UK as well. So yeah, so it's going to be a busy week, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. So yeah, that's this week.
Are we going to still be doing the live shows?
Yeah,
while you're
yeah.
gone,
I'm taking all this stuff with me. Yes, yeah.
You bringing the spider?
Well, the spider can stay here. And
I wish the
read,
listeners could
so I can-
see you scanning. The listeners of the podcast can't see you scanning all the cracks of the crevices of your shop, of your studio, because all I see is you talking and you're just like madly staring around looking for shadows, and great.
Yeah, I can hear a movement.
Come on, man, it's not that big.
Wearing tap shoes?
It's swearing at me and all sorts. Yeah. What else? Oh, so we had some news. So back in Wales, where we're going, which is where I'm from, they've done really well with regards to vaccines and everybody sort of listening to the rules, and their rates have gone like right down. So this Monday you'll be able to eat in a restaurant, like sit down inside a restaurant. You can go to a pub for a few drinks with friends. Cinemas, they've basically gone back to normal. Well, on Monday they will be. So we're returning the week after. So yeah, I'll be able to spend some time in normality for a while, which would be really nice. So, and see friends and see family and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, I just need to haul ass this weekend, get as much done as I can, and that's the week. That's the week. So I think that's a show. Anything else we need to add? Anything we've missed?
We did
okay.
all the reads. I think we're good,
I've
right?
done all there is one thing I do want to show actually because I saw it just this week. I missed it. It's an old thing. It's one of Will Stelter's pieces of work. I don't know if you guys saw it. His pizza cutter, which he did a few weeks ago, but he put a video live just this week. And this thing is just incredible. So I've just pulled up a picture on the live here, so people in the chat can see it as well.
I
This
think he
thing
made it
is
a number of
just-
months ago.
Yeah, I think it was a while ago, and I just missed it. And it was only this week I saw the video where he's showing it. This thing is incredible, unbelievable. So this doesn't work well for radio. Me just putting up a picture, going wow. But believe me, go follow Will Stelter and look at the pictures of his pizza cutter. It is, it's extra special piece of work that.
And let's congratulate our friends of the show. Neil Camimura was on the cover of Blade magazine, and there was a piece on him and Steve Schwarzer and Jason Knight, and it was very, very good. I'm very, very happy. Couldn't have happened to three nicer guys.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Another note
to all
about
three. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just gonna say really quick, another note about Neil being on the cover. It's actually the first time a maker has been featured, because usually it's always a knife across the cover of the magazine, and Neil's the first maker that's, they might have a little corner picture of a maker or something like that, but the cover is an actual maker, and that's the first time they've done that since they started back in the 80s or
Wow.
whatever.
It's his
Yeah, the
hair.
first
It's his hair that did
forged.
it. I think he's putting axe wax in his hair. Maybe I don't know what it is, but that must be what it is.
And the first
helps.
forged hammer, probably on the John Ariani got the first forged hammer there.
Exactly.
Look at that.
Wow.
Friends of the show, all of them.
It's a week of new things happening. That is a show. Thank you all for listening, and we shall speak to you again next week. Bye for now.
This show is brought to you by The Makery, the podcast network for makers.
We're back. Don't tell anybody. It's still a secret. People still don't know we do this.
Craig, you should look behind you. I think that spider's behind you. You're gonna look. You're gonna look. Go ahead and look. Go ahead and look behind you, because as I see him, the fucking thing is right at your head level.
It's that time of the year where there's spiders everywhere, and they are
But
huge.
they're not like brown recluses or something like that, right?
I don't know what they are. I don't. It's bigger than we'd normally get in the UK. So when I see a spider over here, there's spiders and snakes here, which we don't get in the UK. So I'm always a little bit worried about things.
A
like that.
French spider bite is like a French kiss.
Yeah, the tongue's
It's not
out
like
and everything.
it's not like them Australian bites are probably like you start to lose skin, but a French spider bite is
Yeah.
my fangs into these motherfucker.
No,
I love how I wish people could see you just like looking around trying to find that spider. That's so funny. That Jesus Christ was one of the best Jesus Christs. I was a real good
Panic.
one. Oh,
Yeah. Real panic.
Jesus Christ.
That was a good show, I think. It was it went well. There was purposely a bit less stuff for me to we didn't do a quiz on that this week.
No, we don't need to.
Yeah, every now and again I think spice it up with something different. But yeah, a weekly quiz is maybe a bit much.
And just for the listeners, we know that there was some weirdness in the audio in the last episode in the beginning, and we're probably going to be the first little bit with Mareko. He hopped out and hopped back in, so there's probably a little bit of weirdness there. But
yeah, I mean the difference is now is because we're doing video as well. The audio quality has suffered a little bit, simply because we're using a different system. And again, I can use our local audio, which we do with Squadcast. But the great thing about using Squadcast when we just do the audio-only shows is everything syncs up perfectly. If I use our local audio from these, they don't sync up. So, which is why I've just been basically ripping the audio from this live show and putting that up as the podcast. But, I think it's still acceptable audio. And it's just a bit of a trade-off. Okay, we got video, but our audio has suffered slightly. But it's only a matter of time before Restream realize, they'll add that feature, being able to sync up the audio. It's only a matter of time.
Do you think we're getting? I haven't looked. Do you think we're getting a lot of downloads and subscribers on the YouTube channel?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know because I'm never signed into the YouTube one, to the
Now-
Knife Talk one.
Ewan Mullen says Craig's video is crystal clear for me. Mareko's decent, but Jeff's blurred. Now, when I look at my screen, it's not blurred at all. And I know that somebody else was saying last episode, it looks blurry. I don't know. What is? I mean,
He's old. That's just the way you look now, isn't it?
heck, fucking healthy, dude. You need some of this blood over here, Owen. Sorry, Owen. You need some of this.
Yeah.
You need some of this. I got the fountain of youth. Good blood. I got the good blood.
The tiger blood. Yeah, a couple of people saying Jeff
is
is blurred.
blurred.
I think it may just be your lighting, Jeff, because I know you've got a light shining in, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
the lighting in here isn't
Nice.
optimal.
Yeah, and just as an aside, just quickly, that where you've got your laptop, just run your thumb over the camera. Just make sure it's not greasy, because that could be a. Look at that now,
Didn't help at all.
2020. No,
It's because it's dark in here.
yeah, I think that's all it is really. It's not.
Dude, I
It's not
see
a-
that spider behind you, man. There you go. Attaboy. Attaboy.
N Warren, I'm just happy. It feels like everyone is in the room chilling. But it was nice today actually to see the chat, people chatting amongst themselves and answering each other's questions, that kind of thing. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
The doctor touched Jeff's prep found of you. Benthelman 5 has been like really. I've been watching what you've been writing. I'm not fastening my seatbelts for hilarity yet. You gotta work on some of these gears are like. I mean, all of them have been foul balls. I mean, none of. I would, if they were good, I'd let you know. But I think some of them got to be back to the drawing board.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I'm with you though.
We've got. I'm thinking we've got the facility now to have guests as well. Obviously, we need to make sure they've got a good connection and all the rest of it. But should we reach out to Dr. Laren again? Because
Yeah,
that
it'd be
was a
great.
good show. People had a lot of questions for him.
Yeah,
Sure.
That could be quite a nice one to get in again.
definitely.
Even if it's not for the full show, just bring him in for a section.
Yeah,
maybe,
let's
and-
have him in. I like
Yeah.
Dr. Laren. He's great.
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
He's got
And
a
what
new
about
deal too.
What about Dr. Chris with his top off?
I'm not mad about it. I mean, we don't have a whole lot more to say about the whatchamacallit, about the strangler, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. So what you guys been up to? So outside of work, what you been watching? Anything good, or is any good music or anything at all? Or reading anything good? What's going on?
I got the
Been watching
HBO Max.
episodes on Netflix.
What have you been watching?
Episodes
On Netflix.
It's
What's
good,
that?
isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's about these two British writers who have a show in the UK and they bring it to LA and it gets all fucked up and Matt LeBlanc is part of it and it's really good.
Yeah.
We got the HBO Max. I've been catching up on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Fucking show is still good. He's still
Yeah.
good. Still doing
Yeah.
that. And not a lot of
What I've been
TV.
watching? The Mayor of Eastwick, which is I think it's a US thing actually. With Kate Winslet's in it, and she plays like this old cop. That's pretty good. We've been watching that. Did you guys have? You don't get BBC shows out there, do you? Or do you?
No.
Okay. Well, there's been this show, Line of Duty, and it's in like season 6 has just finished, and it's once a year they put on this season, and it's like the biggest show in the UK by a lot. They've just broken all like the records for listening figures and things like that, And I've been catching up on that again, and it's just amazing. So yeah, if you get the opportunity to watch it, it's the most well written sort of cop drama ever. They're anti-corruption, so they investigate bent cops. Bent coppers, as they call them. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. So yeah, if you get a chance, watch that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think the pizza oven's supposed to be showing up tomorrow.
Really.
Very
Which one did you go with?
Uni.
Uni, right? Yeah.
Oh, the Karu, which is a 12-inch. It's a multi-fuel, and I think I can rig it to run off my forge,
Nice.
which would be fun.
Yeah. Wow, cool.
That'll be
so what
nice.
you mean just run it off the same gas? You mean?
Yeah, the excess heat coming off the forge. Yeah.
Oh,
Ah,
you think you could
wow.
just put it on the sit it on top of the forge, and then the residual heat from the forge and heat
Yeah,
it up?
I think I can pipe it out of the back of my forge and up into the oven.
That's crazy.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Just keep that slag out
It'll
of
be
it.
fun.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. No, that'll be no problem. I don't because I'm not using any flex.
Yeah,
Hmm.
or kale wool. I'd have mine like a kale wool topping. You know.
Yeah. Owen Mullins just said he's got the Genevieve Eats pizza oven book today. I haven't seen that.
Oh, nice.
I would love to have a backyard with a pizza oven because I've been watching like all these guys with the pizza ovens and you guys all of the pizza ovens. It would be fun.
You can make them
But
easily
I
enough.
just don't want to deal with all the flour all over the place. Just don't like it. Don't want. I have a
Really?
texture thing. I don't like it. Don't want it. Don't want
Inside
it.
the house or outside? You'd rather
At
have it
all.
outside.
At all. I would do
Oh.
it outside. I would do it outside.
Okay.
Maybe someday. Maybe. I was going to tell you. There's a book coming out. Seth Rogen's new book. It's called Your Book. I heard him being interviewed. It's supposed to be hilarious. From what the stories he's been talking about, it's hilarious. He talks about the weird experiences with Nick Cage.
Oh,
his
and Tom
weird
Cruise.
experience- Tom
Yeah,
Cruise,
I
but he
did
like
see a clip
names
of that.
names, and he like
Yeah.
names. He doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna be like an impresario. He's like gonna be a marijuana impresario. He's got this. Have you seen his new company?
It's a weed business, isn't it?
It's called Houseplant. You got to go to the website because it's so well done. And the stuff he's selling besides weed, and obviously you can't buy weed, but these lighters and the ashtrays and the little videos he does, he's going to be the Elon Musk of weed. There's no question. He's great.
Everybody's at it. Yeah, even Mike Tyson's at it. Jesus.
We've been approached about investing into a cannabis farm.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
We're not doing it.
No.
We're probably making a huge mistake.
Yeah.
We get approached a couple times.
Don't put the new house money on
Especially
weed.
if it's new in New York.
Do
I
not
mean,
put the
well,
new
here's
house
the
money on
problem: is
weed.
it's legal, but there are no dispensaries yet. So everyone's just like,
I got you.
where can we get all this shit? And you can't. You got to go to your guy. You have to have your guy. So
Yeah.
You still got to go to your guy.
you got to go to your guy.
Right.
So-
I'm done. I need to go. I'm sure the spider's gone now, to be honest with you. But yeah, have a good weekend, the two of you. Are you working over the weekend?
No.
Yeah.
I'm doing my little stuff.
Oh, that's what you
My
call
like
it,
my
right.
watercolors and stuff around the house. Nothing.
Right, fair enough. Right, well, have a good one anyway, and yeah, I shall speak to you both very, very soon.
Thanks
Bye for
again,
now.
Money. Have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah.